Welcome to this edition of Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Sean Anderson from Ponca City Public Schools. All about tennis. We're talking Pohai girls tennis with head coach Larry Williams. And Coach Williams, thank you for being here.
Sure. Thanks for inviting us.
2/3 of the way through the season, we spoke with Coach Larimer, the boys coach, and girls tennis. Again, 2/3 of the way through. Going to send some players to Bartlesville to play next week. And then a big match with Edmond North. What do you know about Edmond North next week?
Well, it's a tournament actually, and it's usually been one of the few 16-team tournaments that they've had. And Edmond North, in general, has been an extremely strong team on both the boys and girls sides, like the Jinxes and the Unions and a few to Edmond Memorial, some things like that.
Yeah, there's the facility. I mean, you gotta feel good about going to a
Right.
good facility. How does that affect your players to play in a facility, or is a tennis court a tennis court?
I think to a great extent, a tennis court's a tennis court, and your ambition to win or have a great achievement is probably not going to be too much difference. But it is a really nice facility that they've built down there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we spoke with Coach Larimer about some of the big changes coming to the tennis complex here for our Pohai athletes. And you got to be excited about that. We don't exactly know the timetable when all of that's going to be done, but it sure is exciting. Certainly could use a new building and all of that. How do you feel about some of the changes made possible by the bond election?
Well, it's wonderful. I attribute a lot of it to the board, particularly Robin Riley, who's a friend of mine, was at a lot of tournaments a year or two, even maybe 2 years before a decision was made on some things, and a lot of questions were asked. I think that one of the things that helped us immensely was that I have close to 70 girls total. Okay, that's I don't know if that's as many as any other program or not, but it's up there.
It's a
Okay,
lot.
so that's a lot of girls, and Brad has 20 plus boys and things, and so when you're approaching 90 or 100 youth, you want to have something for them. And there was a lot of other variables in there, but,
Right.
but we are really pleased to have that situation.
Yeah. Well, the Big Daddy tournament's going to be the 23rd. So again, mark your calendar for the 23rd, and 16 teams, eight boys, eight girls teams, and some pretty good competition for our Pohai tennis teams. And on the girls team, some of the team leaders, 70 players, which sounds like a lot. Is that a record or close to it for the program?
I think it is because my sister-in-law coached before I did about 14, 15 years ago, and I think it's a record. Now, I have about 40 or 42 high school girls, and the remainder are 7th and 8th graders. So there's a lot of kids, to be real honest. So.
Right. The Big Daddy tournament, some of the team leaders, some of the people you're looking to really step up and make an impact.
Well, I would say our team leader overall is Jill Jackson. That she's the only senior that we have, and the approach that we've taken, because we're not as strong as a lot of other teams in the state, is that we don't duck anybody.
Right.
The tournaments that we go to are these Edmond North quality type of situations that have a lot of really good teams, and by not ducking in them, we're playing very, very strong competition. And then when you get to regionals, how a regional works is you have usually 4 pretty good teams and 4 teams that are of a lesser grouping. Okay, now we may or may not fall into that lesser grouping. We probably would, but it gives you an opportunity to upset somebody there if we've played the stronger people as opposed to playing a lower situation. And that's the way I work it. And we've had improvement, I feel, each tournament with most all of the girls. And so what we're trying to do is we're just trying to peak about May the 1st and then put it all together.
Yeah, well, it's a strategic approach, and Coach Williams feeling very strongly about that. And of course, as you get into conference play, regionals, and it's all to see who can get to state.
That's correct.
I mean,
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about how the conference and how that has an effect on regionals and of course regionals and the outcome that you're hoping for at regionals.
Conference is kind of a separate situation. We have the Enid and Choctaw and Ponca City, in essence, should be the strongest teams there. There'll be individuals that'll be really good, maybe a Putnam City youth. To me, it's a nice warm up for regionals because it's about 4 days before regionals. But I don't think that it particularly affects. And then regionals, what you've got is you have 8 teams going to each one. Yeah, there's 32 teams in the Class 6A. And like I said, you always hope you get put in a regional where there's great possibilities of winning some and then going on to state. So we'll just see. They announced the regionals this morning, the places. So we'll see what's going on. There's 2 in the east and then 2 in the west. So we'll see.
All right. Well, Pohai tennis and the girls tennis team, a lot of athletes out, and Coach Williams, you got to feel good about the younger ones that are coming up in the program. This year, you mentioned Jill Jackson, 1 senior on the team, just 1 senior. But my goodness, how many seniors are going to have next year or the year after that? It could be quite a few.
Well, we have actually 5 seniors, but there's only 1 playing in what I would call the varsity situation right now. The other girls are really nice girls and good players, but it's just Jill's the one that's in the top 6. Yes, next year we have about, I think it's about 12, maybe 14 juniors.
Wow.
So we'll have a large class leaving at that particular time. And I think there's 4 that are playing right now that are juniors on the top 6. So yeah.
All right. Academics. You've got a lot of athletes to keep track of. My goodness, I don't know how long it takes you to go through that eligibility report, but I'm assuming they take care of their schoolwork.
I would say that 98% of them really do. There's a few that we have to push during the year, but yeah, they do. And if everything goes right, maybe I shouldn't have said this too early, but we won the academic award for the state last year.
There we go.
And the 6 that are planning to go right now, we will win the academic award again for girls for tennis.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, that's great news. It's Pohai Girls Tennis and Coach Williams with us and looking for big things. And again, the Big Daddy Tournament. It is the 23rd, and we want you to get to the tennis complex and support our cats, support the Wildcats. And it's going to be a big tournament, and it's going to be a big day. It's an all-day event. It starts early.
Starts at 8 o'clock with coaches' meetings. The girls and the boys start playing about 8:30. We probably end about 5:30, something like that.
All right, very good. Well, that's on the 23rd. It's called the Big Daddy Tournament. We don't want you to miss it. That's going to do it for this edition of Coach's Corner. Our thanks to Coach Williams, and again, best of luck. My goodness, 2/3 of the way through the season, almost through.
Yeah, it's we're on the downhill slide. Yeah, that's right.
Fast approaching. Until next time, thank you for watching this edition of Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. And remember, Wildcats, hold that line.